And we're talking with Norm Winski from Astro Trends in Naples, Florida. Norm, how are you?
Great, Larry. Good morning.
Hey, thanks for the information about the NASDAQ. And also, you mentioned that Bear Stearns was sold for $10 a share?
Yep, I got that on Wikipedia.
I think Wikipedia has made a mistake. I'm almost sure it was $3 a share.
Okay.
Hey, Norm, let's stick with Wikipedia because the old gray matter and the old Cowboys armamentarium seems to be slipping a bit. So
Okay.
I would stick with that one is what I would do.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start,
Anyways,
Norm.
go ahead.
Oh, wait, I got a question. One of the people is asking, how much was a seat when they first started trading? Do you remember back in 71?
Oh, seat on what?
At the NASDAQ.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think there was a seat. There was an exchange. It was just a network of dealers. That's all.
Okay. And how about the CBOE seats? How much were they going for?
At what point?
When you first, since later, when in the early 70s when you were there.
Oh, I paid 25,000.
Well, that's still pretty cheap. A lot more than that now.
That was 1975. They opened their doors on April 26, 1973.
Mm-hmm.
The seats were originally offered at $10,000 when they first started.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, my friend, go right ahead and start the show.
All right, so when I was last on the 9th of March, I went over these different points here and what was coming up. We were right on top of a big planetary cluster, including the night before we had Jupiter turning retrograde. That's one of my big things when the planets go to retrograde or direct. That's due to the relative motion of the Earth to the other planets. It appears, that's your operative word, it appears when you look out the night sky that the planets individually look like they look like they stop their motion and reverse their direction. It's like you're driving on your highway at 60. The speedometer says, "Hey, you're doing 60," and you look out your side window, and all of a sudden it looks like you're going backwards. That's all but relative motion, you see. So, but that's Einstein would tell you that's important. Your relative position as it shifts with other bodies changes the energy field. So there you go. So I find that when the planets change trend, the markets change trend with a high percentage, high batting average, Mm-hmm. So my other big thing is when the planets get to, as they go around the sun, they're like horses on a carousel. They go around and around, but they also go up and down. And so when they get to back to their highway, which is called the ecliptic at 0 latitude, that's another big energy point. Those are my top 2 planetary phenomena that are really above and beyond all the other stuff. That's the stuff that can cause your Bradley model to go crazy and flip upside down. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so here we go. We had Jupiter in Scorpio turn retrograde. We had some important cycles to the U.S., which is going to conjure up your U.S. Financials with U.S. stock market, U.S. Treasury bonds, and the U.S. dollar. And then we also had some more of the same with Jupiter in Scorpio doing some stuff to Neptune and Pisces. So that's in addition to your Scorpio markets of cocoa, hogs, oil. Let's make that oats and bonds, and we're not going to bother with the oats because nobody trades them except for the horses. And then Jupiter in Scorpio and to Saturn in Capricorn and so forth. So we're going to look at these markets out and see it all came out. Here's my mathematical points for the stock market based on some sort of, you might call it Gann math or whatever, square days, Pythagorean music math, and so forth. And then I have the Fibonacci dates here I do Fibonacci time cycles. So we have the 13th to the 14th, and then look at that. Right now, we're up in the next cluster, the 16th to the 19th, big cluster. S&P we have had back on the 12th, which was the Monday following the Friday I was on. And then we have these Astro dates here. There's the 9th, the day I was last on. Monday the 12th, we have the 13th. Then the next big cluster started yesterday and into the weekend big time. All right, so let's go look at the S&P chart there. There we are right now. This is last night. S&P chart is kind of traded into like a little corner here, an inflection point. And so if we go much lower than we yesterday, and we could break this line here. That's an important trend line. And if we go much higher, we're going to break out to the upside. In either case, within about 1 to 2 trading days, we're probably going to get a reversal. So even if we go up here, we got the big reversal with the new, we got the new moon over the weekend, and we got the big cluster energy. We're going to look at those in a minute, and it'll probably reverse. And if you're an LA waiver, you had a big AB, had a kind of an ABC down. Now we got an ABC going up, and we're kind of missing the last leg of that. And so we could get one more rally up, and then you could be in. This could have been also a 2-wave up, because you look like you're doing a 3-wave going up. And if it rolls over now and starts going down, you could be in the third of the third, which is the nastiest, the lean and the longest and strongest part of the move,
Well, we have a question from one of our listeners about your work with WD GAN. Do you use GAN's traditional square of 9, is what they're asking?
Only not very often anymore. No, I found a system to supersede that. That the planets, the key times, give you the key prices. So I don't, here's what people don't realize. Most of the stuff that people go on the internet and find to study GAN, you're looking through the telescope from the wrong end. Mr. GAN, first and foremost, was an astrologer. He would get the big picture and say, oh, here's my key date for this market. Then he would get out his square 9 or whatever it was to fine-tune where he should put his order in to nail it down. If you're trading, maybe you'd be trading soybeans. Oh, should I put it in my order in at 381 or 381 and a half? That kind of thing. You fine-tune with the square 9. So that's just back on the old TVs there, Larry. I'm sure you remember the old TVs. You get on the right channel, and then you use fine-tuning dial to tune in the picture. That's what the square 9 is. I can do that on a calculator, by the way, much faster and easier on a calculator, a cheap calculator, than I can on the actual physical square 9.
Okay, thank you. That was a question that they asked.
When the folks sign up for my class, if they ask me for that, I can teach them that in about 2 minutes. And then they can dance between the cracks on the square 9. They don't have to adhere to the numbers on the paper, What if you have something that turned at 51 and a half? That's not on the page, right? Okay. All right, there you go. We got cocoa is one of our Scorpio markets, and I was looking for the cocoa to top out. It kind of topped out, but didn't want to roll over. It's being stubborn, and so I'm going to have to call that one a miss. I was looking for the that cluster there right around the 12th or the 13th. And we actually went 8 points higher there on the, I think the 14th. So you could probably, it might have taken a small loss there of about 8 points. What's that, about $80 there, right, Larry?
I think so. I don't really trade cocoa anymore. Haven't for 40 years. So they get along without me, and I get along without them. So I won't bother them.
All right, but it's tasty anyway, right?
Well, I don't drink. My grandsons drink hot chocolate, but not me. Go ahead, Norm. Sorry for interrupting.
All right, but on the other hand, the Hogs treat us a lot nicer.
Oh, we got to pay some, Norm, we got to pay some bills. Can you come back with us after the break?
Absolutely.
You bet. Norm Winski of Astro Trends, Naples, Florida, 877-927-6648. Back, folks. We're talking with Norm Winski of Astro Trends. Norm, you want to go ahead and continue?
Yes, sir. So we're looking at the hog chart now. When the reason I brought up these markets last week on Friday the 9th is because we had multi-day planetary clusters indicating these were going to be active markets. And so when we get these multi-day clusters, sometimes they work together to give you one giant turn. Sometimes they work individually, and then you might get whipsaw type action. So here's the hogs are kind of more in the whipsaw mode here. They made a high on the 9th, a low the next on Monday the 12th, made a high on Tuesday the 13th, and the 14th kind of a secondary top. And then we went down, down, down. Now we're at the bottom. By the way, I think you mentioned hogs a day or so ago. It looks like they're near the bottom of their channel now, and we're coming into another big change in trend point here with the new moon and this big cluster coming up.
You think that'll be early in the week on the hogs?
If they're going to turn, yeah. If they break the channel, then it's a whole new ball game, right? Then you got
how much would you risk on something like this, Norm?
Probably not much more than a handle or so, right?
So
but
you're
you're getting close to,
around $400 maximum.
yeah, but you can see we're
Okay.
getting close to the bottom. Look at that. This channel
Yeah.
goes all the way back to early February. It's been working pretty
Yeah.
well, you know. Right? So,
Indeed, it has. Indeed, it
there you
has.
go. Here's your T-bond. See, by the way, you're going to think I'm crazy, but what's new, right? These smart cocoa hogs and bonds are Astro cousins. So you notice that doesn't mean they're going to go in the same direction, but they'll often have turning points about the same time. Now the T-bonds are kind of like a second cousin because they have some other variables thrown in there with the U.S. cycles and so forth.
Okay.
So anyway, here we go. Here's your bonds. They rallied off the bottom. I was looking for a low there on the bonds, I believe, last Friday there, and we've rallied up now. Now we're close to the top of this channel, right? I think you're looking for a top here soon, right?
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see.
Okay, so if we get there and we roll over like maybe by Monday or so, then that will be correct. If we break out, then it's a whole new ball game. That could be huge if that happened. I kind of agree with you. It looks like it's written in the stars that interest rates are going higher, right? So there you go. All right, let's go off now. Look and talk about crude oil. Is also indicated here. It was indicated, I should say, and I think it's coming up too. In that we had a little top there right on Monday the 12th, as expected. Yes, sir. All right, now we're going to go look at coffee. I talked about coffee was looking like the big energy there for the coffee last week. And you can see there, we made a nice double top there on the 12th and the 13th, right on our cycles there, as expected. Then we turned down, okay? And we're going to look into the future. Let's get our crystal ball out, Larry, and look into the future here now. Starting yesterday is the next big cluster of planetary energy. We had Mercury doing at an extreme there yesterday morning. And that was possibly some kind of turning point for your grains, especially corn, oats, especially soybeans, stocks, and wheat. After the close last night, we have some negative cycles hitting for the U.S., and I heard two really bad news items overnight, which was we had the bridge collapse in Miami. You probably heard about that, and I guess there was a helicopter down in Iraq. So one of our we lost maybe a crew on a helicopter in Iraq. First aviation down in Iraq in a long time, I guess. And so there we go. So and then we come in here to the weekend. We have another negative thing at the U.S. coming up here over the weekend, and then we have a big cluster of Mars cycles all coming together this weekend, along with the new moon in Pisces. Pisces is is the fish. That's the big water, and the big liquid in commodity land is oil, right? And so we also round up our usual suspects for our new moon or full moon, which is grains, precious metals, financials, and the commodity index. The commodity index of oil, those come under Pisces. Those are our special. Are special of the special for this new moon. Then we got, as I mentioned, Mars is going to change signs. That's another often a good short-term change in trend point when you change signs with Mars. That's going to the Capricorn, which is coffee. So let's go look at these markets now. There's your S&P. I just showed you that chart a little while ago, and we're kind of at an inflection point here on the chart. Here's your dates for the stock market, my key dates. I have the market math coming up for the weekend, the 17th. By the way, there's a big geomagnetic storm being forecasted for, I believe, Sunday the 18th. Here's my Fibonacci time cycles. We got two hits here coming up for the 16th to the 19th. That's today to Monday. And my Astro, looking back at some major turns on the S&P, doing the Astro on the harmonics on those. That comes out to Monday the 19th. Are you starting to see a pattern here, Larry?
Yep. It looks like the 19th. You got it.
16th to the 19th, right? This is going to be a potentially big change in trend window. Now we just need the markets to set up right to give you a good opportunity. Here's your T-bonds again. So we're going to be looking at your financials. That includes T-bonds. And like we said, there's the same chart. We're near the top of the channel. On your dollar, you're kind of getting into a wedgie pattern here, and the dollar is getting narrower and narrower. Often when you get one of these planetary events or cycles, it'll occur right at the right where you get to the apex of a triangular wedge, and then you'll break out, and then you'll get the move. Coming up here on your coffee, there's your coffee. The coffee's kind of in the middle of its range. Be nice to see the coffee move down here if you're going to make a low, and that seems to be like the most likely thing. But if we rally back up and you're looking at another top, this is lowest. If we got down here to this green line, which is a parallel to the red line, we'd probably looking at about 116 to 118 area. That'd be really low if that'd be like a multi-month low for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Corn has been pulling back now, and we're kind of coming to an inflection point here where it's going to break out one way or the other. And I would be real comfortable buying the corn on this small pullback here right at a new moon. Could be wrong, but I'd really like to see it break the green line and get a little bit of a panic down here over the next day or so.
Someone's asked a question about a long-term assessment in the grains. Do you have anything on your crystal ball that says that we could be looking at something even more dramatic in the corn over a long period of time? Because we've got planting intentions coming up here in just a few days on the 31st. Do you see anything long-term?
No, I don't pay any attention to any of that fundamental stuff. I already showed you last time I was on there. They were talking about, we had the drought in Argentina, and I forecasted the top, and despite the drought and the beans, there's not going to be any soybeans, and then the beans topped out and went down. So the corn and the gold, I will touch on that a little bit. Corn and gold are Astro cousins under my theory, and so I got a huge 18.6 year cycle coming. Like in the fall, so something big's going to go on with these markets. Corn, gold, anything that's golden, anything golden, golden corn, golden, golden gold. Anyway, the gold is kind of stuck in the middle. I don't know what you think, Larry. I see it kind of stuck in the middle here. It'd be nice if we could pull back here in the next day or so to 1310 area. At least you have a shot there at maybe having a point to buy.
Hey, Norm, stay with us, and when we come back, you can tell us about your service and how the folks can get in contact with you, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye. See you soon.
Happy Irish Day, too, by the way, for you Irish fellows. Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking with Norm Winski of Astro 10. Norm, go ahead and continue on, my friend, how folks could get in touch with you and stuff.
Right on. So just to give you anybody new out there, give you a little background, I've been studying the stock market since I was 15. I'm 67 now. I was investing in college, making money. That led to, as Larry alluded earlier, to my buying a seat on the fledgling CBOE, Chicago Board Options Exchange, in 1975. I did that for 12 years, also traded on the Chicago Board of Trade, and so forth. Here's my quick Irish story. So I picked for member badge, I picked the letters NOW. So in the morning, I go into the coat room to pick up my trading jacket. And the guy running it was an Irish guy. I think it's Jimmy O'Brien or something like that. And I say, he see me coming. He goes, it's Norman Winski. He tried to make me Irish. He tried to turn me into an Irish guy. All right, there you go. That's my funny little story. So anyway, so you can get my letter for free and a free class. You have to take the class to get the letter. Otherwise, you won't understand what you're looking at. But I'm going to teach some power tools so you can save a lot of time in analyzing these markets, and let the solar system be your computer, because the key times will give you the key prices. You don't have to be predicting the price in advance. So just contact me. I cover 30 markets, mostly futures markets. And here's all my contact information here now. I'm in beautiful sunny Naples, Florida. A little chilly here lately. But it's nice here, and 239-594-3939. There's my email, nwinski, NWINSKI, at embark, EMBARQMAIL.com, and my Skype is Norm, NORM, WINSKI. Any questions, Larry, from the gallery there or whatever?
No, I think that's great. The first question is, when do you think you'll be on again? Another couple of weeks? And if something comes up that you see, please let us know, and we'll have you on as a cameo.
You know what's coming up next week is one of your favorites, Larry, Mercury retrograde, I think on the 22nd.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you on as a cameo that day.
A cameo, do a walk-on.
Hey, listen, thanks a lot, Norman. Happy Irish Day to you. The top of the morning to you, mate.
There you go. Thanks, Larry.
877-927-6648.